It was panic because I didn't know what to expect, you know. All I got was the call that the basement was flooded and you have to come home right away. Going down the stairs and seeing, you know, it was about a foot of water that was on the ground, and just thinking like, well, what do? We can't really stop the water from coming in. Like, even with the door closed, it's still coming in. Older homeowners say in their 60s and 70s and their entire basement's flooded, their possessions all strewn out on the driveway, and they're trying to see what they can salvage and how much the damage is going to be.
So this project is about basement flooding. So we look at hydrology, we look at climate change, and we look at land use change. So as we urbanize land, there is less evapotranspiration. That means there is more runoff, and all that water in our cities needs to go somewhere. It often floods our rivers and causes damage to our urban streams, as well as when we infiltrate those waters, it causes basement flooding.
Dan Sandink and Paul Kovacs came to us and with this idea of investigating basement flooding with the motivation of wanting to find out about some of these lot-level technologies and how they behave, what types of issues might be associated with them. This was back in 2015, so they have been side by side with us this whole time.
So it's a frustration, it's a worry, it's a how do we prepare for this? How do I as a designer, how do engineering professionals prepare for these events, because they will continue to get worse.
The beauty of being able to use a groundwater simulation, like not a physical model but a computational model, is that we're able to measure these effects of climate change and severe summer events and flooding events much more quickly than we would be able to with a physical model.
In the long term, it definitely made me quite a bit more nervous around severe weather, because you never really know how bad that it can get. But I think that the important thing to realize is the past is no longer predictive of the future.
What we hope to accomplish by this study is to help to give Canadians additional tools to be able to mitigate basement flooding at home, and to be able to identify how these technologies should be used and maintained to help to alleviate basement flooding. And this may have implications on building and plumbing codes eventually. This may have implications on land use planning and so on, but ultimately we'd like to add to the tools that Canadians have to help to avoid basement flooding.